Now recording.
All right. Hello, everyone. I'm Matt Pitt. Welcome to Now Recording. Today, we're going to be talking about the Kwite allegations in the recovery that Kwite has made in his new video, going over the allegations and basically refuting all of them. With me today, I have Mr. Core Master.
Hi there, completed day one Destiny 2 raid winner, first 48 hours. Let's go.
A victory well executed.
I also have D-Max.
Hey, I just want to get out of this, get ahead of this pun. All right, I thought it was quite a good response. There you go. Boom.
Beaver's maybe here. He might be asleep. And with us, a special guest, FPS Diesel. How's it going, man?
Yo, what's happening, Now Recording crew, or three of the many recording members?
Well, so you just did like a 2-hour stream with Chris and Art going over all the Kwite stuff, and now you've come on here to talk about more Kwite.
Yeah, well, originally when I had approached Core, because I approached him to be on that recording, I had approached because Core was like, "Oh, you guys need a guest," and I'm like, "Oh, when's the FPS Diesel episode?" And then this happened, and now I'm talking about this for some reason.
So exactly. So I'm gonna try not to get you to talk about the same talking points on the stream, but unfortunately I didn't watch the stream, so I'm going to be guessing. But did you? So do you know Kwite? I think you're telling me.
Well, Kwite is honestly, he's one of my best friends, like hands down.
Really?
A bullet for that man. I love him very much. I've spent a lot of time with him, and I've spent time with him over the course of this controversy, looking at everything. So I knew everything before pretty much everybody else. There was a few other people as well, so I'm not saying I was like some savior there. There was definitely a couple of really lovely people who stuck by his back. But
nice.
From the moment it dropped, I knew it was fake.
I'm just curious. Then, do you know Orion, or did you know of Orion?
Yes, I knew of Orion. I remember when Orion showed up in the video that was shown in Kwite's response. I remember Orion being talked about amongst peers as being this person who would go around to people and try to basically be a little clout goblin orbiter. But I knew they had a personal relationship with Kwite as well. So
I've got a really good quote coming from the Homestuck wiki, and I'm really excited about it based on what you just said. So let's get into this.
All right, so beginning first, we'll start with the first thing. Orion, who we just talked about, put out a massive twit longer accusing Kwite of rape. And I have a little segment that I'll read right here. In the backseat of my own car, he raped me. All while I was telling him how it hurt and how I didn't want to do this anymore, he kept telling me, "This is what you wanted." As he went, but soon got bored of it and got out. I sat in the car by myself for a bit before going to join him in the movie we had planned to see together. And to make up, he had me buy him popcorn. I put the event out of my mind as just two virgins being bad at sex, and we hung out with him for the rest of the day. As he was still one of my closest friends, I have a video of him with him to prove we were together at that time that I was able to post only for myself after begging him to take pictures with me because we were friends. So that's only a small segment of the twit longer. I'm not going to read that whole thing because it's basically a book, but too long didn't read. Kwite raped me. That's what his accusation is.
It's gonna be a tough one for us, ladies. And theys and thems and all that.
So immediately after this twit longer goes out, you got people tweeting out stuff like people quote tweeting Kwite where he said had butt sex and he wrecked my tum tum, and Yuxi Dust quote tweets that and says, "Ain't you a rapist?" There's another tweet going around of this is just a random person with 41 followers, but it says, "I hate when people always want evidence on rape allegations, accusations. Why would anyone lie about that? Lie about shit like that? There's other content creators you can enjoy. I hope you stand with the victim, not the abuse." Well, good thing there actually might not have been a rape, so I can joke about this stuff. But yeah, so Kwite was accused by Orion, and a lot of people just kind of jumped in on this whole thing. There was a lot of screaming, a lot of pointing fingers. People were going into Kwite's Discord and were fucking just going after Kwite, and the mods were like, whoa, calm down, this ain't the place. And they were freaking out on the mods, and there was this crazy Discord lady who went out, posted a Twitter voice memo saying, "Okay, listen to the victims." There was it was chaos for the Kwite camp, and it seemed like I just gotta say it. This happens all the time. An accusation goes out against a YouTuber, and immediately the ones take the side of the accusation, and they jump in. And they pretty much put all their weight on the person, trying to get him to respond immediately. The person usually goes quiet, doesn't say anything, and people assume that the silence means they're guilty because they haven't said anything. Meanwhile, they're simply collecting everything they can to defend themselves. They come out with a banger video that's in-depth. It goes point by point by point by point, and then the next thing you know, they've completely destroyed the narrative. And the people that were accusing Kwite of horrible things turncoat and be like, oh, we saw proof now, so therefore quite good now. Quite a good guy.
Yes,
yeah.
quite a good guy.
It's funny because Matt and I have talked about this, and I've talked about this with a few other people, like off air. Like I gotta say, for everything that we've seen from this, like this Kwite response video is probably, in my opinion, one of the best response videos I've ever seen for any sets of allegations I've ever seen on any YouTuber online. It goes directly into the core, like the core tenets of what the actual allegations are. It refutes them immediately, explicitly, and then it goes on to pretty much be completely and totally transparent for the entire situation. And I believe Kwite actually released like a bunch of DMs and stuff from this as well, right? So like there's things that you can go through if you really want to try to get into the weeds of whatever the topic is. So I don't know how much more transparent somebody really can get. I mean, I nailed it. Like just absolutely nailed this video.
Yeah, it's completely transparent. And like I said, you have people immediately seeing this evidence and just totally just switching sides. Remember that person I said that said, "Ain't you a rapist?" Well, as soon as the video comes out, they tweet out, "I would like to apologize to Kwite for jumping to conclusions on the allegations. He's done a good job at explaining everything in this video and has disproved pretty much, if not all, of the evidence made against him. Using my platform as a call out for something that hadn't been fully proven was irresponsible." Here's the thing with these people, right? When I saw these allegations come out, you know what I did? I didn't say anything. Because I've seen this time and time again. I'm not going to choose a fucking side just because one person is loud, and I'm not going to go out against them either because I don't want to try and point the finger and be like, yeah, you're probably lying, because you're going to get attacked for it. The best way to go about this is simply just be quiet and wait for the other side to respond and then make your decision on who you should believe. If not, and at the same time, you don't even have to believe anyone. You can just let it happen.
For real, you can just let it happen. You can just not say anything. That's all you know how hard it was not to say anything this entire time? I've just been sitting
I can't
here
imagine.
I'd see somebody make a hot take and I'd go, I know exactly how to refute that, but I can't say a single fucking thing. And it was pretty much that for the entire time. And I mean, I'm not going to say anything because it's not my story to tell, but that basically was the entire last 2-3 weeks.
Yeah,
just sitting here seeing everybody just say the dumbest shit and going, "Oh boy, it's gonna be fun later."
So with Orion, this may have been the case of a crazy person on Discord, right? The person who wants mod and gets connected to the YouTuber early on and befriends them and gets obsessed with them, parasocial as fuck. And the moment that the YouTuber starts to drift away, hey, I don't really want to talk to you anymore. You kind of weirding me out. It immediately turns manipulative and destructive to the point where they want to rip that YouTuber apart because they want them gone. They want to be the winner and them the loser because they're vindictive. Would you agree with that, FPS Diesel?
Yeah, I mean, definitely. It's hard to say that Orion was just some random Discord orbiter type person for me, but that might just be the proximity. I think from the outside looking in, that's not a wrong opinion to take. I mean, Orion had, physically met up with Kwite, was engaged in the friend groups that everybody rolled in. So they were personally aware of a lot of YouTubers, and they even name drop other YouTubers and their like responses after. I mean, Lord Bung in the Twit longer, and then later on in the Oceanus video with the right opinion. So it was just like
Yeah.
they're an orbiter, but they're also like a friend and like worker of many a YouTuber.
Right. Yeah. So the my line of thinking is right. They're an orbiter who kind of like gets sinks their teeth into someone and kind of just gets invested in the community to the point where they become a regular and they slowly grow from there. And that's why they get connected to like the right opinion and other people like that, because they've just been around since the beginning, I guess, when it comes to Kwite, and it kind of turns from there. But originally, my assessment is that they were just some attention-seeking Discord user looking for someone to give them attention. That's what I would think, but I could be wrong.
No, I mean, I don't think it's necessarily wrong. I don't know. I mean, like when you're a YouTuber and you do it full time, like everyone you meet is through Discord or Twitter, you know. So at some point you're gonna run into fucking crazy people, you know. So like I've had my fair share of crazy people that I've had to like remove and all that. It just comes with the territory. But
let me ask you then, for like Orion, like how did they come into the, I guess, the community or come into the friend group? Was it like, were they a viewer first and then they just kind of chat up in Twitter and then it led to a Discord, or like how do you have like a trajectory for that? Like
it happened so long ago, but they became friends with Kwite way before he had like around like 5K subs, something like that, something like a really long time ago in the grand scheme of things. And you know,
so
obviously,
this is like a stan situation.
yeah. So you hang out with that creator in a Discord call, and then maybe that creator will bring that another YouTuber into the call, and it starts from there.
Okay.
Right. So this was not the first time they had gone after Kwite. They had gone after them in 2018, correct?
Yep.
This is it Oceanus who made the video on Kwite?
I keep calling him Oceanus. He changed his name since then. He's rebranded. He's not, according to him, quote unquote, he's not that character anymore. Great response, by the way.
Oh,
yeah, the Deaf Noodles response, that one always
These
goes well.
People, I swear
Yeah,
to God. Well, do you know at all what his issue with Kwite is?
So this was just like the way the community was back then. There was like a couple of YouTubers, right? So there's always been like this, oh, I'm the commentary that's successful. We're about the business. And then there's like small commentary that like gets really lost in like, I don't know, talking about how Ghosty's mom didn't actually die.
The best stuff.
Okay, all right, you're getting the call out on us. All right.
No. See, the thing is I enjoy that, and now it's like I don't really see like that much of a difference, but I'm also like irrelevant now, so like who gives a fuck about me? So, but there was like a mentality like that, right? So my friend group would do nothing really bad other than be safe. So the example I give, and I don't want to like just drag people's names into this, but it's a really good example. So Wild Spartans, right? He used to do commentary before he started doing like Reddit reactions, and I remember way back when the 10-minute like multiple ads came out, he did 10-minute videos, and people made videos on him because his videos were 10 minutes and he was about the money. So people would do videos just like that.
I remember this.
So that would happen all the time. And so Kwite ended up in the crossfire of one of those things from this Oceanus guy. He used basically false information. He did very little research. And he accused Kwite of breaking the terms of service. This was false, but to, butter that up, Orion also got on board for the video, and he gave a testimony that contradicts the more recent testimony.
Yeah.
So that was the purpose behind the video. It was like really just dogging on a YouTuber for like really dumb shit.
Right.
Okay.
When Orion's first testimony was the testimony, there was no talk of rape at that point, correct?
Yeah, there was none.
So it was more of just he was just a bad friend.
Yeah, it was like he was a bad friend. Orion speaks now. Orion is an adult at this point, right? And Orion in the call speaks like a child and says, "Oh, he would call me mean names," implying that Kwite called Orion slurs, and that is not what happened at all. As find from the DMs. In fact, it was Orion who called Kwite slurs.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Yeah. So my question is, I wonder why Orion or Orion decided to manipulate the story into something way more serious than it originally was, and why they decided to turn this into a massive accusation instead of just continuing with, oh, he's just a shitty friend. And I can only guess that it's the spotlight, right? That type of accusation holds more weight than, oh, Kwite's a shitty friend.
I can only speculate, but like you know, even those videos they did no numbers, but they came out and they planted seeds of like things to complain about this YouTuber for basically the entirety of their career. So Orion had slowly gained like a little bit of clout each time it had happened for the people who just took their word on face value. Like the only, I mean, obviously one of it is clout, but I genuinely think that Orion feels personally jilted for Kwite's success, and this is much more personal rather than I don't think Orion was thinking, oh, I can turn this into a career. I think Orion was like, my friend, the person I loved, screwed me over, and now I'm trying to personally screw them back, kind of thing. That's how I see it.
Yeah. Did you ever have like any conversations with Orion?
No. I actually said this on Chris's stream, where I found it funny how some of my mutuals were the people that Orion reached out to, but Orion never reached out to me, and I don't know why. I mean, I was a co-host with Kwite on a podcast for an entire fucking year, 2 years actually.
Yeah.
So the fact that I never got a DM from Orion, I found very funny. Considering people close to it, like Kappa, who's mentioned in Kwite's response video, get mentioned by name, and you know, here's Kappa releasing a message to Orion saying like, you're like vindictive and a piece of shit and all this stuff. You know, obviously he's much more tactful than I'm being, but I don't need to be. Orion is a piece of shit.
Do you have any speculation as to why Orion didn't reach out to you?
I don't know. I'm edgier, I guess. I'm not that much edgier, but that might be why. I'm also not as important as those other people, so maybe that. But I would have been a very big channel to prop up Orion's message, given the fact that, you know, Oceanus was not a big channel, or what's his name, Progress, it wasn't a big channel. So it would have been a good idea, but then also I think my personality might say that you wouldn't reach out to me.
Mm-hmm.
I'd have to do a little personal digging, but I'd imagine some other people who are close to Kwite also didn't get, you know, spoken to specifically for their personality. So that's my best guess.
Yeah, being afraid to be told to fuck off or something, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah, or the jig being up too early kind of thing. It's much easier for those like haters to get onto your side than someone neutral or positive of Kwite.
Right. Well, so Kwite put out the video, and it was a very in-depth analysis on how he didn't do it. In fact, Orion's main accusation was that he was raped in the back of his own car, but Kwite says that Kwite is still a virgin, therefore they did not ever have sex. In fact, Kwite said that Orion kissed him, and that was pretty much it, if I'm not mistaken, right?
Yeah, that's pretty much on the money for all of that.
Yeah. So the video. Oh, go ahead, Max.
Yeah. Just since you talked about the theater, that theater is actually really close by me. I go there like all the time. And I just want to put my 2 cents in, and just like the parking lot thing. Like, if I were looking to get down in the back of a car in a parking lot, that particular parking lot outside the Cinema XD in Orlando, I would not choose that one, because like that Cinema XD in Orlando, especially around that time in like 2018. That was like an active like mall. Like there was like people who were constantly coming in and out of their car. It was like a strip mall. So like people were walking around. Like it wasn't just like people were just going to the movie theater. So you'd be able to find like a certain time, like an hour where nobody's like walking around in the parking lot. Like people are always around. So, I mean, it's not like it's impossible for somebody to have sex there and nobody notice, especially if it's like a quick thing, kind of like what they're saying. But it's just, I don't know. I just find it an interesting angle of it too, where it's like, like when I heard that, I was like, I don't know about that. Like, I don't know if I would be that brave. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah. Would you say it's like a wide open parking lot and like a lot of people coming in and out, a lot of
Yeah, well, that's what I'm
eyes,
saying. Like,
and like
especially,
you
yeah,
got
that is at
two.
the end. That's at the
Yeah,
end of like the whole strip mall. So like
right.
that's the core. Like people will park there specifically so that they can do the strip mall and then come back through it so that they can go to like a movie at the end of the day, or do a movie first and then go do the rest of the strip mall and then come back to their cars. Like
Yeah.
there's like that is a in my opinion probably a busier parking lot.
And you
movie
got
theater.
two socially awkward teenagers who one freaks out every time he's sensually touched. So the believability of the situation it's lowered. In my opinion, and I feel like Kwite did a damn good job explaining his side of the story and making it as transparent as possible. He tweets out advertising the video. For the record, everything that has been claimed I've said or done recently is false. In this video, I do my best to take a comprehensive look into it with evidence to support what I have to say. Now, Orion, who goes by Veriska's #1 defender, said, I saw Kwite posted a response, but it's like an hour and 40 minutes long, and I don't have the time to talk about it right now, but I will be treating it with the utmost respect what this deserves. I can't watch it just yet, but I will try to tonight. And then I would say, let's see, a few minutes later, I believe, maybe 10, 20, 30 minutes later, hey, I haven't seen the full video, but I noticed quite a bit of lying in the first 10 minutes or so I realized I need to show my diagnosis. After I post this, I'm logging off for a while, but here is undeniable proof that what I said did. Thank you for everyone's support. And then they post a censored document of a psychological summary. Now, someone in the replies seems to point out that in this summary, there are some interesting things. This person tweets out, Orion, this was clearly copy-pasted and fake. A real medical document like this would be proofread. This isn't looking great for you, dude.
Shout out to my editor. That's my editor.
Oh,
Oh my god.
Shout out to Star, boss
Yeah.
bitch.
So you got so in this list, it says trying to avoid thinking or talking about the traumatic event. Then it says avoiding places, activities, or people that remind person of the traumatic event. And then we loop again to say trying to avoid thinking or talking about the traumatic event. Now, usually psychiatric documents or documents of anything of that nature are proofread and usually do not contain any sort of errors like this. So it is very suspicious, in my opinion, for something like this to loop and to copy and have horrible grammar. But hey, I'm not a doctor. So
I mean, I don't think you need to be a doctor to read how bad this document is.
I mean, my thing is like too. It's like, what is this? Like, okay, let's say this is true. Like, what does this prove? Like what's the point of bringing this up anyway?
I think what he's trying to say is that there's documented proof that he talked about the sexual assault. But it says Orion preferred name
In 2022, though.
Yeah, in 2021. Yeah, a 21-year-old transgender male who self-referred for individual psychotherapy due to onset of panic attacks, dissociative episodes, and intrusive memories of a sexual assault they experienced in 2018. Orion reported experiencing the following symptoms, which are consistent with a diagnosis of post-traumatic stress disorder. Now, I remember in the video that didn't Orion discover through therapy that they were sexually assaulted?
Yes.
Okay, so and
now,
in this,
now they're saying they came there already knowing it in this document.
right? Okay, so that's what confuses me, and
that's what you would call a contradiction.
yeah, and now Orion has gone completely silent, and the tide has turned for him. Are you expecting a very in-depth video to counter back Kwite's manifesto?
Okay, listen, if that happens, I'll eat my fucking socks, bro. Okay, that's right now. I'm now recording. I'll come on now recording, and I will record myself eating a pair of socks. All right, but it's not gonna happen. There's a lot of reasons it's not gonna happen. Some of which are private, and I'm not at liberty to say. But they're done. They're done. It's done.
It's done. Okay. Max, you had a couple of theories that had to do with their profile picture. You want to go into that?
Yeah. So, okay, everybody, I'm going to expose myself a little bit for some of the deep internet cuts here. So Homestuck is a popular, well, let's say it's a cult. It's like a cult following style comic, like web comic kind of a thing. It's got animations tied to it. It's got a whole subculture. Those of you who are familiar with Undertale, Toby Fox came from Homestuck. That's kind of like that kind of root of the community. I grew up around a lot of Homestuck people in Florida, and I'm very familiar with like people who go to MegaCon for Homestuck and things like this. Something that I just thought was kind of interesting was that Orion in their Discord profile picture that kept on coming up in this Kwite video, I kept on seeing this character from Homestuck that's one of the troll characters in the thing, which is kind of like, I don't know if it's fair to call them necessarily antagonists. It's been a while since I've read Homestuck, so I'm kind of fuzzy. So I looked up the Wikipedia thing for it. And by the way, Vriska Circuit is the name of the character, and Orion uses Vriska as their avatar, both on Discord in those DMs on Kwite's video, and now currently on Twitter at this moment. And something that I just think is interesting about this is that like Homestuck is a very interesting, like there's not a lot of like I don't know. It's a very interesting subculture of the internet. One thing about these Homestuck troll things is that like a lot of the people who have these profile pictures that are Homestuck trolls, they take on, or they at least identify with the personalities of these trolls, so much so to the point to where they'll wear their symbol or they'll start to like use them in the profiles and stuff like this. So I thought that it was kind of an interesting idea maybe to do like a little like refresher on who Vriska Circuit is. So I'm going to quote from the Homestuck Wikipedia for you, just because I think this is an interesting quote. Vriska Circuit, or quote unquote, Vriska Circuit is more often than not a huge bitch. She gets easily bored, makes shady deals with people, does horrible things to her friends, and then slams herself because nobody likes her, or even worse, hates her enough. The Wikipedia article on this Vriska Circuit person also goes on to say that they are somebody who tries to manipulate quite often, but also ends up getting manipulated in the wash of that whole entire thing. So I thought it was interesting, because like it just, I don't know, something about that kind of speaks to it on some level. I feel, you know what I mean?
So you're saying that like the association with this character is more in depth than we really think.
Yeah. I think it is, because this is what, like, and don't come at me like Homestuck people. I'm not saying you people are scary to me, and I've grown up around a lot of you, and I can appreciate the subculture, but you have to admit there are some people in your community that have been problematic at times. And all I'm saying is that like these people who go around with like these Homestuck trolls in their profile pictures, they identify with these characters. That's why they put their profile. I'm not like, people do this with anime characters too. It's not just specifically Homestuck, but I'm saying this is a thing within Homestuck culture. Like this is a phenomenon that is specific to Homestuck very specifically. They have like whole like relationship dynamics based on like how these characters interact with other characters. And there's like the relationship that's good, and then there's the relationship that's bad. There's like an enemy and like an allyship kind of a thing to it. It's very it's geared up in a way that makes it so that this parasocial relationship that seems to have formed at some point between Orion and Kwite, like it just, to me, it makes a lot of sense. Maybe other people who have out there who have some experience with Homestuck or know about Homestuck kind of know what I'm talking about, but I just thought it was an interesting angle to bring up.
No, well, what is it with these like? It seems like every false accusation derives from like something from Tumblr. Like there was a person on Tumblr who was like writing something, blogs on Tumblr, watching weird shit, and their brain has been like deactivated and like turned into this like this person where everything's a problem and manipulations.
I don't know what it is. Like because this is, you're right. Like this is something that does seem to happen a lot with people who came from these like, these Tumblr communities and different like little subcultures on the internet, like Homestuck. Homestuck was like I mean, I don't want to get into the weeds of this too much because I don't think this is like an actual like problem or anything. But what I'm saying is there's a huge sector of LGB within Homestuck that always has been a part of like the thing, and a lot of them, frankly, not all of them, but a lot of them are deeply hurt people who have like personal struggle within their lives. And
Bro, this is some
that is something
fucking
to be
Randy
pitied.
Stare bullshit. I swear to God, dude. Bro.
No, but
How
like,
much-
I feel bad for these people because I think that they have in my opinion, they have an unrealistic view of what relationships are in real life, and I think they apply some of the fandom that they have for certain like online communities. They try to apply those standards to like real life, and it's just not like, it just doesn't work out. I think that's why we end up with like a lot of these kind of strange people. It's like it's a very specific kind of like feeling oriented type of person. They throw logic out the window to a degree. They try to obfuscate. Nothing's ever their fault. Everything's always like, oh, I've got a mental disability or something like that. And I'm very I have a lot of sympathy in that regard, but it's like you can't use it as a crutch. And it's just like, so when I see like this person posting this thing about this this supposed like licensed psychologist like briefing or whatever, like I just can't see anything else but that. It's like, okay, so you're trying to use your handicap as like as a crutch, or you're trying to use it as a shield.
That was
like,
a Hail Mary. That was a Hail,
yes. Yes, that's exactly it. Yeah.
Yeah. Ready, set, hut. Here we go. Interception. Like interception, and the guy runs it to the next to get a touchdown. Like it totally like I feel like that tweet switched more people than the actual video. I could be wrong, but like just the tweet of the psychological report, the people that were still on the fence saw that and they were just like, well, fuck. All right. My bad, I guess.
But just like, why? I just keep on like you explain like maybe why, but like I still don't understand the rationale for that, because I don't think that's the smoking gun anybody would think it is,
Right. It's not a smart move. It's I don't know. It's just not something someone who is making these accusations should do. They should probably just
hearsay. Like that's literally hearsay.
Like most people who make accusations and then and are proven wrong usually just do the whole, well, I know my truth and bye, and then like come back like 3 months later when everybody's forgotten about it, Hyojin.
Hyojin never came back from the stuff with Ed, from what I recall, right?
Well, I'm talking about the I'm Alex stuff. I mean,
yeah. But we can get into that. I was there too.
We will get into that. Yes, in fact, we can get into that right now. Max, you were not around during this time, right? You don't know anything about the Slazo stuff, right?
No, not a word.
All right. So the Slazo stuff, there was a Australian Redditor YouTuber who was accused of raping a young girl that he was dating at the time. And this young girl started talking to a lot of YouTubers like I'm Alex, Hyojin, Kwite, Blues Dank Memes, and many more, I think. A lot of the British commentators like Winnie, and what's Quite's twin's name? The other one that wears the fucking mask.
There's another one.
Yeah, there's another one who wears a hood, mask, like but a bandana and shades. I can't remember.
Oh, that's Memulus.
Memulus. Yeah. I don't know. I don't know if he was a part of it, but those are like the people that were like really a part of it, and they really they helped like platform this accusation. And the main proof they had was a screenshot from Slazo to the girl saying it's rape time. Now, guys like Nicholas Diorio, Turkey Tom, Willie Mac Show, a lot of these guys started really poking holes into these stories. And really got down to the nitty gritty, had interviews with Slazo, heard his side of the story, and pretty much determined this girl was not telling the truth, and that either she was being manipulated by the YouTubers or she was manipulating the YouTubers. They think it was more of the earlier. So they made a Hey Beavers.
Hey Beavers.
Fuck you at daylight savings time.
I'm sorry. Shit happens.
I told him, I was like, did you, I said in the group chat, did you remind them? And he's like, no.
What, remind who?
The Beavers.
I didn't know about it until today.
I mean,
just
we're
kind of sneak up
Americans.
on
We
you.
all know about that.
No, I didn't know about it till
No, we
today.
don't.
Fall
I
back,
woke up-
spring forward. How do you not?
I didn't
remember
know. No, I know it happens in spring. I didn't know it was today. I woke up at 2 p.m, being like, "Huh, that's interesting."
I literally saw a tweet from like Jessica Pizzle or somebody talking about it 3 days ago, and I still forgot that it happened today.
Yeah. So Beavers, I apologize. Anyways, we're talking about Slazo right now. So all that stuff's happening. Slazo comes out with his side of the story. I'm Alex, and all these guys start pretty much being accused of being false accusers. And I'm Alex goes quiet. While this is all happening, by the way, they're all hanging out together at fucking VidCon in 2019. By the way,
Yeah.
like they're all watching this happen. Like videos are being dropped about them while they're at VidCon. Like Lord Vega is watching. Lord Vega's at a party, literally watching. Like I'm Alex watching the video. Like that shit happened.
I am sitting down on a chair as Lord Vega sits on another chair as I'm Alex in a Gucci sweater with a green leopard on it regales the story of how his best friend Slazo was actually a terrible person. That is what is happening. I was incredibly drunk, but I remember that vividly. Okay,
Kind of legendary though. Yeah.
So all that is happening, and there's this, and unfortunately, Kwite was one of the guys who was a part of the situation with the YouTubers. Do you know how much he had to do with that FPS Diesel?
all right. So let me regale you, right? Because
Yeah.
a lot of this has driven me nuts because these stories get turned into certain things, and people just run with those stories. So I was there, guys. Right? I was there for the whole thing. Everybody listening, I was there. I was in the Airbnb where all these videos, we were all watching them together. Which, by the way, guys, congratulations, we were all watching your videos together.
They know.
We know. And this was happening over a period of a couple of weeks. So it was VidCon, and then after VidCon, I was in Colorado, still with these people, watching all this stuff happen. But basically, the accuser, Che, right? She had come to these YouTubers saying this happened to me, and she regaled this story to them, and she was like, "I would like your support in doing this," right? So it was not that these YouTubers deliberately manipulated and worked to fuck over Slazo. It was rather that this girl manipulated these YouTubers and took their better judgment, right? And also, it's like, oh, they're older adults. They've been through more. They understand a little bit more about things, blah, 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 right? So she would lay on them for responsibility, responses, how to word things. It was her who initiated that whole thing. And a lot of these people were being kind to support her. It wasn't that they were had some weird fucking beef against Slazo and then needed to go out and ruin it. I don't know where that started, but nobody was running with malintent. The only one who I would ever say that to is I'm Alex. And at the most, it's just that he cannot fucking keep his mouth shut. He likes to tell everybody's business. I'm not the first person that says that. Brad does banter, beat me to it on that, right? Mm-hmm. So.
He went on. He did a whole interview with Nicholas Diorio that was never recorded. So yeah, he was going to the small commentary channels and being like, yeah, no, Slazo did this and that, So
yep. And so what ended up happening is that these YouTubers stuck their neck out for this girl who had basically took their better judgment.
You guys talking shit?
What
How the fuck did he hear about us?
How the fuck can he get in here, Core?
You didn't remove his guest role, you asshole!
I thought that was a voice clip for a second, and then I looked up and I'm like, "Oh, hi, Nick."
I just know that Core is in the Destiny server playing Destiny with
Core,
Nick right now.
Core, did Nick even know we were talking about this?
No.
Bullshit.
No, he didn't. I'm deafened in there.
I'm gonna look now.
I'm still deafened in there.
Yeah, you are. You are deafened.
Yeah, he's deafened. Where was I? Yeah, so we were basically, people were sitting around waiting on Che to say something after this response from Slazo comes out, and then she just leaves, and she just left all the YouTubers going, what? I thought she was gonna make a video on this. I thought she was responding to this, and so now a bunch of YouTubers end up eating crow and having to apologize, right? Which they apologize and all that, and dims the brakes. But there's just the whole story that like everybody got together to fuck over this guy's career. I don't know about that. That didn't.
I mean,
that didn't
look,
happen.
I mean, fair enough. That I think the person that got the most blame got the most blame, which is I'm Alex, right? So
Yeah.
I think the rest that apologized, like Blues Dank, Weast, who else? What's the Dolan Dark? All those guys.
If it makes anyone feel any better, that was the straw that broke the camel's back, and everybody fell apart, and nobody spoke to anybody for years.
It destroyed everything.
Yes.
That'll help Nick's ego. Nick, see what happens when you actually make videos? You destroy communities.
Well, I don't mean it. I don't mean it like that. Like, I don't have any ill will. After a while, I recognized. Like, don't get me wrong. I was really upset, and like, I didn't say anything. By the way, over the entire course of this drama, I had my internal opinions based on what my friends had told me. Right? Why wouldn't I trust them? That's completely reasonable too. But they were wrong, and I ended up having the wrong opinion. But I didn't go around being like, "The fucking Slaz was a rapist." I didn't do that. But after all that happened, yeah, basically, everybody fell apart. Fucking everything.
Did Kwite? I know Kwite addressed this in the video, but did he ever talk about this publicly before that?
He did apologize publicly in a tweet, and I know he talked to Slazo privately.
Right.
As well for the apology. Pretty much everybody gave a public and private apology.
Yeah. Because the timeline's very interesting. This happened in July 2019, which would have been a year after the Orion stuff. So I always, and I'm not saying this criticizing quite what he said in his video. I think he did a damn good job addressing it, and I totally understand where he's coming from. I'm sure he feels really guilty about that situation now, but just thinking about the situation, what he was attacked, but he was attacked, called a bad friend, get lied about and stuff, and then you have this situation with Che and all this. Now, I'm not saying Kwite jumped in on this. I'm not saying he like got everything going. I don't know how crazy that group chat got, but again, we'll never find out because Mystic deleted the logs of it. But
By the way,
yes, Beavers.
sorry to interrupt you, but that Slazo situation produced my favorite screenshot. Well, one of my favorite screenshots ever.
Mm-hmm.
It's the one. It's the one where Slazo's like, obviously they were role playing or whatever. I don't know. It's rape time, and then she goes, "No, no."
Yeah, exactly.
That is the best screenshot ever.
Yeah, that was like the main evidence used against him. They were like, "Look at this screenshot. It's rape time."
I just remember laughing at that.
Yeah, it like you could tell by the screenshot it was obviously a joke, and it just like all this shit, people will run with whoever's the loudest at the time, and the people have to like recuperate and fucking figure out a way to get their story straight and defend themselves, and then when that happens, everything kind of dies down. It's the same pattern. But back to what I was saying about the timeline. Do you know if like Kwite was like ever thinking like, shit, man, this person was maybe this Slazo guy was being lied about or anything like that?
I mean, I can't remember specifically or like read minds or read in between the lines. I know Kwite got out pretty early. He was pretty
okay.
Yeah, he was very quick to change up his tune after all that. But yeah, some people I know definitely didn't. Which, by the way, those people I definitely don't speak to anymore. But
name names, bro. Name names.
I am not going to name names because I am not in the process of trying to ruin careers. Because I know it'll come around and bite me in the ass. Just know for those people, fucking my life was shit and fuck you.
Well, I didn't realize you were in the middle of all this. I've seen your videos, and I knew you as the guy who sounded like Deaf Noodles. In my opinion, you sound like Deaf Noodles. I don't know what to tell you. Some people disagree with me all over the place, but I swear to God, you sometimes sound like it. Okay,
I've gotten Chris Raygun before, but it's because of the accent.
Yeah. But I didn't know you had such a connection with that part of YouTube, because I always kind of saw you as kind of like away from that for some reason, like this New Yorker who just did his own thing type of stuff. I didn't know you had a podcast with Kwite. I didn't know that you were that you were a part of that community, and to hear your side of the story and the Slazo stuff is really good because not a lot of people like to talk about what happened during the Slazo situation. A lot of people like to stay quiet about it.
Yeah, I mean, at this rate, I think you gotta talk about it. I mean, obviously, I feel, don't get me wrong, I feel very bad for Slazo, and like, again, I didn't know the guy personally. I think some people say they were friends and they, it was like professional relationship shit.
Yeah.
But I just never got to say my piece, so I'm just glad to finally get to say that piece about that because it's like fucking baggage on the back. I mean, Jesus, you could probably hear it in my voice. Like, it was a rough time in my life.
Max, do you have any questions about the Slazo stuff?
Not really.
Not really. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Beavers, you got anything else you wanted to say about the Slazo stuff?
That screenshot made me laugh for like a day straight. I'm not even lying.
Based as always.
I think it was Nicky JJ, the guy that I play Rust with. I can get him in a. Oh, he's asleep now. I could have got him in a VC, bro. I was fucking laughing at that thing for like a day straight. I would just look at my phone and I just start giggling.
No, I mean, in that vein though, of talking about that screenshot, like, and you were talking about this a little bit before, Matt. Like just the idea that like somebody, because like we all talk shit in DMs, like we're all razzing with each other, fucking whatever, like we're cutting up. It's like anybody could take any DMs and then out of context just put it with a, and then he called me the F slur. It's like you could easily do that for like anybody in the thing. Cause it's like, what's the difference between a consensual conversation between two friends that are just like ribbing on each other versus like, 2 years later when you can all of a sudden turn around and weaponize that into making somebody look bad.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it seems like in both of these situations, that's what happened. So for everybody out there, take the text as a grain of salt,
Yeah.
When those women come forward, D-Max, that's exactly the excuse I'm using.
Me too. Hashtag me too.
I like the fact that it's not working as much as it used to back in like 2018, 2019, as it being like right after the 2017 cancel era. It like everything that they said hit harder. The slurs, the misconstrued context, the lies, the weaponization, all of that hit really hard due to like the cancellation of like Harvey Weinstein and all of these people and how big it had gotten in Louis C.K. It just trickled down to every fucking community.
It wasn't the slurs. Say it for what it was, right? The Believe All Woman movement was cancerous in that fucking period.
Yeah, it trickled down, and it trickled down to every fucking community. Wrestling community, YouTube community, gaming community, Smash community. Well, Smash community deserved it. Every fucking community.
Hey, look, guys, I'm not defending pedophiles, all right?
Every fucking community, this shit trickled down. And nowadays, now in 2023, the stuff still happens, but a lot of times you have people being like, all right, who cares about that? Who cares about this? Don't really care about that. Give me an actual story on what's going on instead of trying to manipulate the situation, please, because I can see that you're manipulating it because I wasn't born yesterday. I've seen this happen for the past 6 years. I know exactly what you're trying to do. So the only problem is people can't come forward quickly because they don't want. It's selfish, but it's right. You don't want to be caught up accusing someone of lying and they're not lying. That's a scary situation.
Yeah.
So then, why do people dogpile? Like I can't, like I don't understand that. Like why is it that there's so many people who I respect on Twitter who all jump on this story? It's like, guys, come on. Like, can you wait at least for the other person to have their say before you have an opinion about it?
It's mob mentality, man. It's just they see someone weak and they pounce, bro. It's how we're programmed. It's weird.
I know it sounds like weird to say, but it was like if I did not experience or go through like with all the shit that we were dealing with, all these people accidentally accusing Slazo, I don't know if I'd have such a good eye now for being able to recognize those things, right?
Yeah.
And I know people were doing it at the time with the best of intentions, but that's usually how people involved act. I don't know why randoms on Twitter feel the need to comment on everything. One day you're a geopolitical specialist, the next day you're a chemical engineering specialist.
Yeah.
But
Mhm.
it's like a matter of like stay in your lane thing, and it's rough. But I do think that experience made everybody that was dealing with the stuff now for Kwite. It was handled a lot better. Everybody like knew not to speak. Let Kwite do what he needs to do, and I am so fucking grateful for how like the commentary community has acted, because like I said, I love Kwite very much, so
Yeah.
like that, just the respect I have for people like just went up like tenfold.
It will always.
I'm
Go
just
ahead,
very glad that you threw that long-tongued little fuck under the bus.
The thing is that I'm Alex got nothing but wins, even though that happened. He stepped away
I
from
know
YouTube.
it's so annoying.
He stepped away from YouTube, goes to Spotify, becomes like this little niche fucking micro celebrity in Britain, and it's like good for him. I'm glad, he's getting a bag or whatever, but he's given up his entire fucking soul for it, and that's
But
just
I
not the
don't
kind of
get it.
person I am.
But I don't get it, right? Even with the little kids, okay? Because the little kids, they like people that look youthful, right? I'm Alex is clearly balding. He's losing his hair. He's been losing his hair since he was like 20. And still, he gets away with it because he does that little gay ass fucking bang. Oh, I hate that man so much. I hate
All I'm
his little-
saying is I'm not
hate
gonna
him.
let a guy who's known for playing fucking FIFA tell me who's a rapist and who's not a rapist.
And okay, on the I'm Alex thing, he ruined my favorite fucking podcast with that piece of shit fucking Elvis the Alien and the other one, the fucking bear dude that nobody fucking cares
Zaptai.
about.
No.
No, not Zaptai, the other
dude.
Oh, the pig.
the other guy.
Oh,
The
Bionic
pig.
Oh, yeah. What was his
I can't
name?
remember his name.
Bionic Pig. He
Pig,
reviews
yeah.
That's the
movies
one.
now.
What was the name of that podcast? I can't
Hot
remember.
Wet Soup.
Hot Wet Soup. God damn it, that's
Hot
a
Wet
You know,
Soup.
back in the day, there were two camps, right? There was a baited camp
Yep.
for the normies, and then there was the hot wet soup for the based intellectuals.
You were part of
like
it. You were part of the
myself.
Hot Wet Soup crew because that was my camp too.
I loved hot wet soup.
It was pretty cool. Yeah, it was an interesting time.
Snakiest bastards on the internet had to get rid of fucking Zaptai.
Yeah.
Yeah, that fucking asshole literally came on the Hot Wet Soup and was like, "Oh well, my Zaptai's a pedophile." No, wait,
No.
sociopath. I meant to say.
Every time a commentary like closes their eyes, they see a pedophile. That's it.
No, a sociopath. I meant to say sociopath. I got the words mixed up.
I thought you were going to
what's even
say
worse?
every time a commentary accuses somebody of pedophilia, an angel gets their wings. That's what I thought you were going to say.
Okay, you know what's even worse about that situation, right? Is
Yeah.
fucking I'm Alex wasn't even just a fill-in, right? I would get it. If the two main co-hosts said, "Look, we don't want to tackle this alone. Let's just get a guy in." You know what I mean? I mean, it's not the right way to do it, but okay. He comes on there and he says, "Me and Zaptai were like besties."
Yeah.
And I'm going to tell you all that he's a fucking sociopath that abuses women. A
He had a
fucking
very
piece
sinister way of
shit,
delivering
woman.
that too. Yeah.
Ugh. Thank you, FPS.
He says like
Well,
pedophile
people
really
need to
weirdly
know.
too. Pedophile. What is that? How do the British say it?
They say a nonce.
A nonce and yeah,
A pedophile.
a pedophile.
Yeah.
But yeah,
I remember
fucking,
that now.
Fucking I'm Alex. Every time like some person is considered bad, he's like, they were my best friend, and I'm, like the second and third time, bro. Are they really? Like, how many best friends can you have? But yeah, I distinctly remember sitting outside. There was a pool. Was it? Did I come on now recording and say the Boogie story where he was saying to Jeff Holliday's wife that her pussy smelled like roses and he wanted
I
to
think
sleep with
so.
her?
I think that was on our stream.
Yeah. It was that party that I'm Alex appeared at, and he was regaling this story in his ugly ass sweater to Vega, who was just nodding his head along and being like, but you see, and then Vega would like be like, yeah, but these people are saying this, but Alex wasn't having it, and he just took a break from the internet, or not from the internet, but from YouTube, and he went to Spotify because he got a big fucking bag.
You know what? You know why he did that? Because
To avoid it.
I'm Alex is a little fucking social climber. That's all he's
No
done
shit.
his whole career.
Yes, he is.
That's all he's ever done.
What the
He's
fuck
got
does
no
he even?
talent.
Yeah. What does he even talk about on
Exactly.
Spotify?
He had like a show or something, like a podcast type thing. It's like a very vapid celebrity kind of status.
Yeah.
Now he's just like one of those people that appears at parties. Like the I'm famous because I'm around the famous people types. That's him.
He's gonna be like who's that guy that almost raped that guy in that van, Matt?
Wait, what? What?
Well,
The
Raped the
IP2
guy?
guys.
Oh,
The
Andy
IP2
Dick.
guys.
Andy Dick.
He's gonna be an Andy Dick. He's gonna be an Andy Dick when he's like in
Is-
his 40s.
is this ironic? Because I looked up his YouTube channel just to because I remember the name, but I couldn't remember the face, and now it's kind of all coming back to me. Is it ironic though that the last video that he just uploaded a day ago is called "We Watch YouTuber Apologies"? Literally, that literally is the last video he just put up.
That's funny. One last thing I wanted to say about the whole cancel culture stuff is it will always be a red flag to me when a girl comes out with or girl or guy comes out with accusations, and I find out it's been filtered through either a group chat or a Facebook group chat or a Facebook group or a private group where a bunch of people are meeting, telling their stories, they're telling their stories, they're getting their story straight. When you're trying to get your story straight with a bunch of people, I'm always going to be kind of suspicious. That's just my opinion. Yeah.
My opinion on it. You know how I judge those cases, and I'm yet to be wrong. Right? I go look at their Twitter timeline of the girl that's making the accusations.
Yeah.
If you see very sussy behavior on their timeline, you know they're lying.
Well,
what does sussy behavior entail, Beavers?
Well, when the bitch says that this guy manipulated me and blah 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 blah, and then I see you acting like a fucking e-whore on the internet.
I knew that was coming.
I go, you know what? I'm gonna wait until we see some evidence.
I see you in the replies of every woman on the internet being like, "Hello, baby." Okay, what's going on?
Diesel, I mean, even like you were saying earlier, the tone is so much different, right? It's like Orion in these DMs is coming off like, oh, this is like edgy boy, this is likes to make those types of things, and then you look at the interview and it's like, well, actually, and it was really hard because of this, and using the most cutesy voice they possibly can.
Mm-hmm.
Let me ask you this, FPS. Let me ask you this, right? To my point, if I came forward tomorrow morning, okay, and I said that this woman manipulated me, and she abused me, right? Some girl. Are you gonna believe me?
You, Beavers, you specifically? I don't know about that.
After you've seen everything on my timeline and me being in all the e-girls replies and stuff like that and thirsting after them, are you really gonna be like?
If it was Matt Pitt, yes. If it was you,
exactly my point. All right.
Yeah, but oh my god!
So all you fucking feminazis in the comments, I just proved my point.
Listen. I'm not agreeing with Beaver's point. I am sex positive. If you want to take your boobas out, I will gladly like your tweet.
No, the world has a place for whores.
Yeah.
In my followers, yes.
All right. Diesel, one last thing I wanted to talk about here. Who's Lord Bung?
Oh boy, Lord Bung. So Lord Bung was personally involved with this Lazo stuff.
He's the fucking dude from.
So Beavers. Now she.
I don't care.
I know.
Beavers, come on.
This is the person with the animation. I remember
I'm
Lord
not
Bung.
gonna refer. Yeah, the little fatty that used to hang out with
Ah, they were so cool
fucking
though. I used to
Huijin.
know them. That sucks. How are they shitty now?
So Lord Bung personally knew Che and was very adamant in supporting Che behind the scenes, but Lord Bung wouldn't publicly stick their neck out for Che. They felt they were above the drama. So after that happens, very convenient of them to not come out and say anything right before Che gives this massive statement and tries to ruin a guy's career. Now it comes around and Orion's time to shine, right? So Orion gives a statement, mentions Bung, and then Bung makes a statement on her Discord and on her community tab. What's interesting about this is that I hear through the grapevine that Lord Bung is dating Orion, actually. Oh, that's interesting. Very strange. So I end up, looking around. I inform quite knew about this already, but that helped lead them down a rabbit hole to try and find tweets where they were talking about being in a relationship together. And ultimately, it did come out about a year ago. They said they were dating. Now, whether or not they're still dating, and especially now, if they're still dating, remains to be seen. But there was a time period where they are. And of course, they also maintain a professional relationship. At the time of the mediation, Lord Bung was a neutral party, right?
Mhm.
But now they're retelling the story in a completely different way from what happened. And that's all revealed in the messages that Kwite shares. But it's very interesting how they pull a 180. And it's interesting because, this is my speculation, my opinion. They talk about Orion and Bung as a we. So, Lord Bung is like me and Orion as a couple. So my speculation is they were still dating up until the point of that allegation. Whether or not they're still dating now remains to be seen. But
yeah. At some point, Orion tweeted out a response from Lord Bung, who said, hey, I'm going to read this. Y'all can interrupt me as much as you want because it's kind of long. Hey, everyone. This is in regards to the recent Kwite controversy. I just want to say that I've known Orion for several years now, and I know he's telling the truth. It would be a stupid amount of effort to actively and expertly lie about the details of these events and this raw, visceral emotions for years. I've had to witness and help one of my best friends get through breakdown after breakdown over specific and consistent triggers for several years, and it absolutely breaks my heart when I see some people think he's lying. He just wanted his story out. He didn't want to have to carry so much alone. He wanted you all to know what kind of person Kwite is, and is just to be cautious. I mediated a call between Orion and Kwite long ago regarding their relationship, and Kwite was incredibly harsh and aggressive. He would tell inconsistent stories and get very intense when questioned. It's not so much that a bad temper was the issue, it's that nothing was ever resolved. He would just yell the loudest and win. When Kwite and I shared a BNB in Melbourne and in Anaheim for Paxos and VidCon, I recall him being very transactional socially and aggressive and very physical when drunk.
So I'm gonna stop you there, man. I was
What's
there for those VidCons.
Yeah.
I was there for those VidCons. That's a fucking lie, especially with the Australians. They all had a house, and we would all hang out together. We'd all come together and hang out.
Yeah.
So that's complete fucking bullshit. There's a lot there that is already wrong. I'm not saying there's like massive gay ops here. There's no fucking like grand conspiracy behind trying to fuck over Kwite. If anything, it's just these two. But Bung already is completely misrepresenting everything that had occurred over this period of time.
Surprise! The guy that was like besties with that fucking witch, Huygen, or whatever the fuck her name is.
I don't.
Wow! Surprise!
Beavers. The thing about Hyojin, right, that you got to understand is that she was a good friend to people who were just people, right? But how she acted with the men she dated is a completely different story, right? It's a different dynamic, and she acted differently with those individuals. So that's like a lot of people had heard inklings, right? Or a boyfriend would tell a story, right? But a lot of people wouldn't get involved because most guys aren't going to get involved in trying to save another guy from an abusive relationship. That's just not how guys are usually. But as a friend, Hyojin was fine. She was very, outgoing, very funny.
Of course, the sociopaths always look normal to the outside.
I don't think she's a sociopath, but yeah, it was a different dynamic.
Matt, you said this did you say Bung said it was transactional? What does that mean?
That's what I was going to ask FPS Diesel. What the fuck does transactional mean in this context?
I'm guessing like a social climber kind of thing, right? Where it's like, You know, because
I'll follow you, you follow me back type of thing or something.
No, like I'll only interact with you if it brings me something.
yeah,
right?
if it brings me
Okay.
value, kind of thing.
Yeah.
That's how I could think of. But you know, these are also networking events. I
Yeah,
mean,
right.
parties
True.
and people having a good time. But like, yeah, you know, we all knew why we were there. You know, to make more connections. Like that's
Right.
normal.
Lastly, they say thanks.
Also, last thing that I'll chime in about the bung person, right?
Mm-hmm.
How the fuck are you gonna go by she pronouns and then have the word Lord in your fucking name?
I mean, well,
Yeah,
to be fair, Beavers, Lord Bung has been around. Like when she was a he, that's when Lord Bung was like a thing. So I guess like maybe it's a matter of like, well, I don't want to like try to rebrand the whole channel to Lady Bung. Like that would be hard for the algorithm, kind of a thing. So I'll give him that out at least.
Lord Bung
but-
sounds better too, and also
Yeah.
I should mention that I think Kyojin uses they them pronouns. I'm sorry for making that
Oh,
mistake.
for fuck's sake!
Yeah.
I
what?
do not care about your pronouns.
But-
I'm gonna go. I will die on the hill with fucking Dave
well,
Chappelle.
I
I do
was-
not need to participate in your delusions.
Well, how about this, Beavers? I agree with you. I think pronouns are less important than proper nouns, and so long as we're getting the proper nouns right, I think that's full respect to the people. You guys are having a real legitimate human experience. I'm a gay filmmaker. That's my cover.
I'm a gay filmmaker. That's my. You know, I'm just trying to be respectful. You can be a shitty person, but you
I'm
don't.
trying to get FPS cancelled.
You don't. I said this on Kristen Ark's stream. Orion doesn't unbecome trans because they're a shitty person, right? If I
Sure.
commit a crime, I don't unbecome Puerto Rican. You know, I am Puerto Rican. You know,
Yeah, except for
just what
Christian.
it is.
Well, let's get into this. Let's get into this, right?
Oh, no.
Here we go.
Oh
So,
boy.
Yeah, thankfully, the response online from the Revelation has been very supportive for Orion, which is a refreshing and incredible. It's a complex and triggering situation, and we don't really have anything to gain. My channel doesn't run on drama. If anything, we're risking getting absolutely destroyed by a very wealthy YouTuber, so this will still be able to speak. I'm going to post this. Okay, go Beavers.
all right. Now, why are pronouns such a no-go? Right? I don't. You're getting morning, just woken up Beaver thoughts because. Well, if I get into a fight with someone, right, and I'm gonna go for a low blow, right,
Okay.
and you're a fat person, I'd be like, I'd insult your weight. If you're cross-eyed, I'd insult your fucking eyes. If you're ugly, I'll insult your fucking face, right? And people will be like, you're a dick for doing that. But as soon as I say a he is a she and a she is a he, suddenly I'm the devil.
Well, it is a sign of disrespect, and I think that's what more
I
people
agree.
are
It's
talking about.
disrespectful, but I don't
and it's-
like you.
I don't disagree with your ability to be able to say that. But what I'm saying is that, like, I think the difference is maybe.
Yeah.
Well, the only difference I could think of is that, like, I mean, between, you know, if you're fat, right? Like, the difference is that is a different, like, maybe somebody who's fat doesn't think that being fat is a problem. So you telling them that they're fat is like, sure, it's derogatory in nature because you're meaning it to be that way, but they don't necessarily perceive it as such. Whereas you saying that, or like saying somebody's pronouns incorrectly on purpose is, like, I guess personally triggering to them just because they have to have that self-image, and the more that it's kind of brought on them by other people in their surroundings, that's why it would be a problem for them, I guess. That makes sense?
Let's use a more permanent example, because a fatty can go run and lose weight, right? And then lose their leg like Matt did. But
God damn it.
I was very skinny when I lost my leg, though.
I know. And then you woke up and you lost like 5 kgs.
Yes. Yes, that happened.
Well, the thing is, right? It's like let's use a more permanent example, like the cross-eyed dude, right? What's more terrible? Me calling the guy a cross-eyed fuck, right? And he can't fix his eyes. That poor fuck is gonna be seeing skew for his entire life, right?
Okay.
Mhm.
And I just go after him because his fucking one eye is looking this way and his other eye is looking the other way, and I just dig into him for that. Or me calling you a he if you're a she.
See, I thought you were- I thought your argument would be so let's see a black guy, right? But okay, here's my
Don't
take.
give him any ideas.
I'm not
Here-
dying
here-
on that hill. I'm not.
Listen, I don't need to insult immutable characteristics about you to fucking own you, okay? But that's because I do this for a living and I'm like expert at owning people. I don't know. The now recording people watching this can be like, actually, FPS Diesel is this fucking dumb libtard. I can't believe he's going on about this. Yada yada. Yada. Well, listen, guys, I'm not. But if you feel comfortable saying that and it makes you feel happy, I mean, go off, King. I don't really care.
I agree with you though. Like you should never insult somebody for the way they look or their physical characteristics if you're arguing with them, right? But I'm talking about hate and vitriol here. Right? Like when you don't like somebody and you want to make them fucking cry. Right? You want to hurt them for years. That they're gonna think back.
The
on
problem
that
is,
moment.
Beavers, you shouldn't want to do that.
Yeah, you shouldn't want to do that. And also, it's like, yeah, I could really hurt a black guy if I call him the N-word, but I'm not going to.
I mean, you might hurt him, he might hurt you, is all I'm saying, you know?
Yeah. I wouldn't test it out. Is a theory. Like, it's like even if you're like a piece of shit, I want to respect who you are. I want, if you're a freak, live your freak life, do it. I consider myself pretty fucking bohemian. Like, I don't give a fuck. Just don't be a dick to people. Right.
I used to sit. Okay, backstory. Right. Maybe this just speaks to how fucked I am as a person. I was a very short child. Right. So like up until I was 16, I was like 4 foot. Right. I'm now 6 foot, but up until I was 16, I was like 4 foot nothing. And so what I did as a child is I would be that little fuck that I wouldn't fight physically, but I fight with words, right? I remember, and I feel bad about this now. I remember this one time, I can't even remember what I said to her. I reduced the receptionist of my one school to tears, so much so that she took like 3 days off.
That's fun.
Where the fuck are we going?
Did it feel good?
Beaver's lore.
I was just giving you a backstory for how I like to do things.
Look,
Okay.
Here's how I put on the mask.
Well, Beers, I think what you're speaking to is that like there are people out there that for whatever reason you may just disrespect, right? And so like I don't think that it's like a cruel act against nature or anything to like just call people names on the internet, you know? Like I don't think that there should be necessary. It's like if you're being a bully to somebody, I don't think there's echelons of that. It's just you're just being a dickhead in general. I think what you're speaking to is like why is it that that's like a next echelon of being a bad person? Like you're saying with the cross-eyed example. It's bad enough that you're calling somebody with cross-eyed, let alone now that you're like misgendering them. It's like, well, it's basically the same insult because you're just trying to do damage to this person however you can.
Yeah,
Right?
and last thing about this, just so you know how deep my hatred for certain people goes. If I was offered the opportunity to hang out with I'm Alex or a convicted sex offender, like horrible, I'm going with the sex offender every day. I'd rather listen to that man tell me the harrowing stories of what he's done than spend a minute with I'm Alex.
But I'm Alex has to introduce him and say, "Oh, look, it's a pedophile."
It's a pedophile. Oh, this bloody nonce over here is my friend Gerald.
It's not a standard I hold to anybody else but myself. I'm not like going around telling people you gotta respect these person's pronouns or anything like that. Like I don't want to police people's speech. Like
Well, to what you're saying though, FPS Diesel, I agree with that. Like just because somebody is a bad person doesn't mean that I think it gives you carte blanche to be able to just try to psychologically make them distressed by calling out something like that.
Yeah.
It's conceived as a low blow. Whether you want to do it or not is up to you. But
my thing about it is that I don't see why it like if somebody's a piece of shit, right? Yes, okay, it's disrespectful for you to do it to them or whatever. Okay? But I don't understand why people will then they'll get on your ass about it. Like if the guy's a piece of shit and you misgender them, it's like, okay, you're being a dick and what did you expect from me? he's a piece
Right.
of shit.
Okay. Okay.
It would be like if I was insulting his fucking cross eyes.
So Matt Pitt, do you want to ask me more very hot button political questions?
No. Last. What's your final impression on Lord Bung? Let's bring it back.
Lord Bung can fucking go fucking kick rocks, bro. As far as I'm concerned, this person didn't stick their neck out for Che, and even though they were wrong, they were a champion behind the scenes. So to not is just very telling. And then to do it now when like there's clearly some ulterior motive of the possibility of a relationship, which by the way, the distance between these two people, like I have no problem with e-dating, but we're talking about like a fucking like Australia is like butt fuck time zone. Like they're asleep while you're awake. Come on.
Yeah.
It's a whole day.
They're in Tomorrowland. Like you're dating
Literally.
someone in Tomorrowland. That's fucked up. I mean, we're on a podcast with someone in Tomorrowland, but I'm not going to fuck Mitch, I don't want to
honestly,
fuck
there is something kind of romantic about dating somebody from the future, though.
The world ends in Australia, and you're like, shit.
Speaking about the geo thingies, FPS, you might find this cool. I was watching a YouTube short earlier, and apparently, if you go stand on the equator, right, like right on the equator, and they've got these two sinks on either side of the equator. If you stand in the middle, you can literally see water spinning the opposite directions down the tubes while you stand in one location. That's fucking mental.
Yeah, if you go to Australia, the toilets flush in the opposite direction. I don't know if that's...
it's true.
Bullshit.
Yeah.
It's true.
Well, I mean, it's down the drain, like Orion's whole fucking narrative. There you go.
All right.
Also, one more comment about the lady bunk person. You were the least talented person in that group.
I liked their animations. I thought they were all right.
Has there been any word on Orion if they've been talking behind the scenes or anything? Have you heard anything?
People had a group chat where they were talking about it, and they're just like random nobodies. So basically, as far like anything that you might have seen, Mr. listening to this, is probably just some random nobodies talking about it.
Gotcha.
Orion has been radio silent as far as I'm aware.
Gotcha. Any last things you want to say about Kwite?
I love Kwite very dearly. The reason I want to speak about this is really to just correct some like public mistakes that people have said, without any like malicious intent, just like oopsies because they don't know the people involved or anything like that. But I love Kwite. I would take a bullet for him. He is genuinely one of the best friends. One of the people I love. So okay. I'm glad justice is done at least.
Okay. Core, you got any questions? Yeah, pause your game, you fuck. Yeah, where you at, Core?
It's an MMO.
What do you want?
Well, you got any questions for FPS Diesel?
Yeah. So Diesel, when are you gonna join the raid?
Listen, I am not good at Destiny, so there's that.
Well, listen, you'll get better.
Don't worry, none of them are.
How long did that raid last, Core?
I don't want to talk about how many hours we
exactly.
Bro, it was like
that's the point. None of them are.
I tuned in at hour 6, and they looked like they were just getting started. So
6, that's it.
No, they looked like they were just getting started at hour 6.
Let me just say there were probably more than 16 hours.
Yeah, that's about right.
Those motherfuckers. I was there during like the first 2 hours. They couldn't figure out how the map worked, let alone how to finish the raid.
That's a Destiny raid for you.
Holes, losing direction.
That's a Destiny raid for you. That's how it goes.
I still think you should have brought Xylee in. That's my opinion.
I would have cried.
It would have been way more fun to watch.
Well, I love how they've now got the Destiny team, right? It's Creed, the degenerate gamer. You got Core, Nick, all of them, right? And then you've got the B team, or the D team, rather, right? Which is Mitch, FPS, and fucking Xylee. You're like, yeah, you guys will come to the major leagues.
Listen, I touch grass. I can't be that good at video games. Like, fucking, I get outside.
All right, Beaver's your bird.
I know.
He's backing up, bro. Like,
it is a funny bird.
Yeah. All right. the most important question I have for you, FPS Diesel, is you had like a 2-hour conversation with Kristen Nark and about a little over a 1-hour conversation with us. Which conversation did you enjoy more?
I appreciate the Beaver's tangents. I originally thought I'd be coming on to talk about, I don't know, anything else. not that I'm disappointed.
Beaver's in with the save.
I enjoy talking to you people. You know,
Yeah.
Chris, I enjoy talking to you guys. I would not be here if I did not like you people. So,
Yeah.
I can't really decide. It's like a different atmosphere both times. I like that we're not live and Chris doesn't need to put that I like goblin pussy to 600 viewers, which
What?
I don't care anymore. He already did it, so it's too
Well,
late.
Well, since we have you on the record, do you like goblin pussy?
Yeah, well, first of all, what is goblin pussy?
What
Is
do you
that
mean?
like a
Matt,
goblin
we all know
vagina?
what goblin pussy is. Stop
like a
it,
literal
stop it.
goblin?
Matt,
Or
stop
like
it. We've all
gobbling
seen,
pussy?
listen, no, we've all seen your DeviantArt pics from like 2004.
Are
We
we
all
talking
know
about,
what
like,
you
gobbling
you're
down
into.
pussy or like
No,
actual
no.
No, Matt, he's talking about Jewish girls.
No, oh my god.
yeah,
What
Jewish
the
girls are
fuck,
great.
Beavers? Holy shit,
Oh wait, that was actually really racist. Holy shit, that didn't even process.
dude.
Chill out, J.K. Rowling. Jesus Christ.
If JK can do it and become a billionaire, I don't see why I can't.
What the fuck?
That was so based. It's racist and anti-Semitic.
I have a funny story about goblins. There was I hate anime. I fucking hate anime. But every now and then I have friends that are like, dude, you should. All right, this one anime will be great, and they're like, I can recommend you a good anime, and I'm like, fine, recommend me one. He's like, what do you like? Like medieval fantasy. I play D&D, stuff like that. He's like, all right, I can't remember if it's Goblin Hunter or Goblin Slayer, but one of those. And he recommends it to me. I sit down, I watch the first episode. Within 5 minutes, a woman's getting raped by like 8 goblins, and I'm like,
Yeah.
Jesus fucking Christ! Like that's all these fucking animes are. It's just like
No.
Goblin
minute.
Slayer is super dark. Yeah,
Yeah.
I would never recommend that to somebody.
Yeah. Well,
that
I
is
got
not a good
recommended
word
it.
for an anime.
Wait a minute. if you like goblin pussy, right?
Uh-huh.
You like orc pussy? Like they're one step removed.
I would fucking orc if she was
Orcs are totally different than
strong and hot, you know.
Are you a furry if you want to fuck a Tauren?
That's definitely too far. Yeah.
Where did this love for goblins come from?
I
much-
have no fucking clue. I don't know. I guess I've been so terminally online.
Goblin pussy.
It's
There you
been
go.
that way for a while. Listen, buddy, you can't choose your kinks, okay? They choose you.
I mean, fair enough. I mean, they probably smell weird, but you know.
I mean,
probably greedy pussies.
Hold on. Goblin Slayer goblins are ugly, and I do not want to sleep with them. Okay, let me
Yeah.
clarify. There is a Matt Pitt. I sent you a meme.
Yes, I
Those
see
types of goblins are much. Listen, I just want a short woman with a bad attitude. Okay, and then
These make
A
me
long
think.
nose and green skin and
You ever seen the movie Gremlins? These make me think of like the female gremlin that has the
Oh,
lipstick
fuck.
and the long hair.
you
Like,
want to fuck Gizmo? Holy shit, dude!
But I am
The
gonna
fleshlight
become
at that point.
a goblin VTuber. So I've committed.
You give him okay. You fucking Gizmo, right? You fucking Gizmo after midnight, okay? And then you feed him something, and he starts doing that little vibrational thing.
I've never understood. Not to like really take this podcast on a different direction, but I never really understand the whole feeding after midnight thing. Because isn't every time after midnight? If you think about it, isn't anything after midnight? Like at any point is after
Listen,
midnight. Like
let's
that's
not
such
get
a-
into the semantics of the Mogwai mythology, okay?
Maybe
It's
it's
very
just like
it's
a
based in
witching hour
Eastern
type thing.
ethics. What?
It's like a witching hour type thing, like 12.
Yeah,
to
but
3
when does
a.m.
it? Yeah, but shouldn't they be more detailed? Like you
It's
say after midnight.
magical. It's magic.
Like between 12 and 12:30, 12 and 3 a.m. You know, I just feel like
Again,
after
we don't know what
midnight-
Mogwais are about. They could be
Yeah.
aliens as
If
far
the
as we know.
moon, if the moon is past the middle of the sky, Matt. There you
Just
go.
saying. Just saying.
What about
all
if
right.
it's a daylight savings? Okay, never mind.
Yeah, daylight savings or fucking I don't know. Fuck,
A
it's
leap
11
year.
o'clock. You know. Yeah, exactly. Why does it all based on time? Never mind. Okay. Yeah, time zones and shit, bro. Like, okay.
Very
Well, can I
heated.
cap this off? Just like I have one last
Yeah.
quote that's on my little quote thingy.
Absolutely.
So this is a quote directly from Kwite in the video. He says, "Orion was codependent. He was a drain on me emotionally and mentally, and had long gotten in the way of A, my efforts to deal with my own mental health, and B, live my life." And I think honestly, if you've been online enough, you will have come across at least one person where for whatever reason you end up in that kind of a situation with them because you want to be as nice as you can be. And so like that part of it in particular really spoke to me, and I really I kind of got where he was coming from with that. It's like that explains a lot of like the back and forth there and why he wanted to end it. And honestly, good on him for ending it. I think when he did with Orion, because it was just it was going to spiral out of control and become maybe an even worse situation than what it already was. So good on him for that.
Amen. FPS Diesel, thank you so much for coming on, brother.
Thank you for having me on. Hopefully next time it's under better pretense.
Hey, look, you don't understand how excited I was when I found out you were friends with Kwite. I was like, great, I have a reason to have FPS Diesel on now. And he has most of the context. I don't even have to do anything.
Not using him for clout, like usual.
FPS Diesel reached out to me, all right?
Okay, hold on. Let's be specific here. I was having a conversation with Core, and he said to reach out to you. So...
Okay, that's what I said. I didn't say anything else.
Core pushed this.
Okay,
right?
but I'm not Core.
Core's the clout goblin.
Yeah.
Well, would you ask Core to come on again, Diesel?
Core, can I come on again?
There you go.
You gotta play Destiny first.
Hey, you gotta beat the raid first.
I just like the fact
okay.
that we cover all this unhinged, degenerate shit, and every now and then you'll see like a YouTuber like FPS Diesel or someone like that just in the chat, like, "Yo, this shit's crazy," and it's crazy that they get the eyes from the people that are covering, I don't know, like Andrew Tate and stuff like that, but they're watching stuff like Ghosty almost said Ghosty fucking his mom, Ghosty making up that his mom's dead.
Wrong spur.
That's what Ghosty should do. I didn't fuck I didn't. My mom's still alive, but I did fuck her. Or something
All
like
right,
that.
guys, my mom's still alive. And she can attest to the size.
I didn't kill her. I just blew her back out, guys. It's all right.
Yeah. In fact, if Ghosty said that, I'd be like, "All right, welcome back, buddy." Just kidding. That's a joke.
I thought she was dead. I just fucked her so hard that she passed out. All right.
All right.
Ghosty's gonna get mad. We keep on talking about him.
He's on his Joker art, from what I've been told.
Yeah, he is. We live in a society.
I cummed in her mouth and I blew the back of her head.
By the way, everyone's
it was an accident.
By the way, since it's been brought up, everyone bringing up quote tweeting Ghosty and being like, "Why are you still here?" Stop quote tweeting him and ignore him. It's really all you got.
Guys.
Don't do what's gonna happen.
Yeah, you did. You called it.
Yeah. All right. Thank you so much, FPS Diesel, for coming on. Thank you, guys. Make sure to like and subscribe. We just put out the Maya video today as we're recording. It's doing very well. Thank you so much for watching that.
She's in my DMs again.
Make sure to put something in the comments if you want to recommend us interviews, people you want us to talk to. We'll reach out to people. We definitely need other people to come on and stuff like that, and we're kind of running out of ideas of who to bring on. So if you have an idea on someone you would like to see on Now Recording, reach out. Also, make sure to check out our live streams that are usually either Tuesdays or Wednesdays around midnight Eastern. And also,
can I have my on?
No.
Not if I have to be the middleman.
No,
Thank you.
no, please. She went and did a great interview with what's his name?
Oh, Victor or something.
Victor, yeah. Victor did an amazing job. Go watch that interview. It's like I said, better him than me.
Right.
Look, I've been through enough with that fucking story. Okay. Shout out to our Bad with Money tier, Brienne and Stefan Corbino. Thank you so much, guys, for being a Bad with Money member. That is the $14.99. Anyone who becomes a member will get shouted out at the end of our episode, just like we're doing right now. And remember, Now Recording is always recording.